So as the MX2 riders line up on the grid for their first race of the day, in qualifying yesterday, CLS Kawasaki's Loic Rombaud grabbed the whole shot with UTAG Yamaha's Zach Osborne and Bud Kawasaki's championship leader Gauthier Paulin in third. Behind them, though, it was carnage going into turn 2 as last week's winner, Bulgaria, Marvin Musquin, Nicolas Aubin, Xavier Boug, Stephen Frossard and Pascal Leray went down in turn 2. Rombaud, though, he soon dropped back to finish 5th, leaving Paulin, Osborne, Simpson and Rui Goncalves fighting for the lead. But with 3 laps to go, Goncalves crashed out of 4th while pushing his teammate Simpson and handing 4th to the Italian Davide Guarneri on the Monster Energy Ritchie Racing Yamaha. Later on that same lap, Gauthier Paulin went down, handing the lead and the heat win for his first pole position of the season to Zach Osborne. In the qualifying race, it was Osborne from Paulin, Simpson, Davide Guarneri, Loic Rombaud 5th, Manuel Moni 6th, Gunsif Vansana 7th, Bob Sharef 8th, Mathis Caro 9th, Stephen Sword, better ride for him in the qualifying heat because his qualification, pre-qualifying practice, was an absolute nightmare. Sword, he was down in 24th place. Markus Schiffer, the German, was 11th. Jake Nichols 12th, and another good ride for him as well. Valentin Tellier 13th, Cedric Soubera 14th, Roulance 15th, Clement 16th, Avis 17th, Lupino and Frossard. The 5-second board's about to go, and it looks like a great jump from Osborne up the inside. Into this tight left-hand turn we go. And it looks like Zach Osborne on the UTAG Yamaha. A few people getting squarely. Pile up at the back of the pack there. This is where the crash happened yesterday, coming out of that whoop section where it took out 5 French riders. But everybody looks like they're safely through there at this moment in time, as they head through over the finish line jump for the first time of asking here. And the rundown at the moment, Zach Osborne leads from Gauthier Paulin, so pretty much like it was yesterday. Yamaha leading Kawasaki, Kunsit Fonsana on the SRS Honda, number 64 in there in 3rd position. As we see, Frossard, number 183 on the CLS Kawasaki, just trying to get up the inside of that looked like Sean Simpson. So the rundown at the moment, oh, here's our onboard camera, one of the Monster Energy Yamahas. That looks like Davide Guarneri. So Guarneri in around about 11th position at the moment. He's got Xavier Boug just ahead of him. But there's your leader, Zach Osborne on the UTAG Yamaha. Furthest part of the circuit here, up over that artificial hill, drop down, big leap through here into this next right-hander. Then we've got a tabletop under the first of the Red Bull bridges, over the little step up. Then into this next left-hander, then we have a rhythm section underneath the Tekka bridge. There you see Kunsit Fonsana, number 63 on the SRS Honda. He's been going great guns as well. Finished 7th in his qualifying race, but it's been fast all weekend. There's Osborne, there's Gauthier Paulin, the championship leader in this MX2 championship so far. The guy who won last time out, though, we're looking for number 25, and that's Marvin Musquin. And he's not inside the top 20. In fact, Musquin down in 24th position, so maybe getting caught out. But you see how important it is to get a great start here, because, as I said earlier, going into turn 2 in the qualifying race, Musquin went down with a handful of other French riders, Boug, Aubin, Frossard, and could only get back to 23rd or 24th, 20th in his heat race. Here's the on-board with Davide Guarneri up the inside, next to Zach Osborne. You see Osborne just hanging off the back of that UTAG Yamaha. Guarneri hits the brakes, and Kunsit Fonsana just flies right by in that 64 SRS red Honda. Then we see riders going down at the back of the pack. Sean Simpson in the centre of his screen, so too on the green Kawasaki, number 21, Gauthier Paulin. Back with the leaders, though, Osborne. Out of that city curve, over the first rolling whoop section. And Osborne doing what he did in Ireland at the Grand Prix in Fairyhouse last year. So the 19-year-old Zach Osborne, originally from Virginia, sitting there out in front at the moment, but Gauthier Paulin, the guy behind him, the 19-year-old from André in France, he's got the number 64 of Kunsit Fonsana, another French rider on the SRS Honda right at the back end of him as well. So Gauthier Paulin feeling the heat a little bit here at the moment and not able to push on and challenge Osborne, as we can see Osborne disappearing off into the distance at the moment, although it be slightly different. This line here now, you see that hay bale just right up against the framework of the bridge there. A few riders were sneaking around that yesterday in qualification, but now there's a bit of a deterrent there, so it's all even there because one or two riders making quite a bit of time and able to make some passes as they came through the pack. There we see the 183 of Stephen Frossard. Frossard down in 5th position, chasing down Manuel Moni, number 13, on the 3C Yamaha. That's Moni there, right on screen now. So Osborne leads, Paulin 2nd, Vansana 3rd, Manuel Moni, there's 4th. That's 3rd, 4th and 5th coming down the straight now, past pit lane. Moni in the red in 4th position as Frossard has gone through. So Frossard now in that 4th place, Moni in 5th. As we look at Manuel Moni, number 13, and we've got Sean Simpson on the Red Bull KTM just behind there in 6th place. Valentin Tellier on the Junior Factory KTM in 7th. Rombo 8th. Xavier Boug is 9th. And Mathis Caro on the Motorvision Racing Suzuki down in 10th. Davide Guarneri, our onboard camera on that Monster Energy Yamaha, is in 11th. Cedric Zubeira on the MD Yamaha is in 12th place. 13th is Stephen Sword and Jake Nichols, so pretty much like they were yesterday in similar positions this early on in the race, just like they were in the qualification yesterday. Over that 25-metre or so tabletop, furthest point of the circuit into a right-hander. You'll notice here the base of the tabletops there are a dark material, quite hard pack in its nature, but the race builders here, Greg Atkins and his crew, Justin Barkley, putting a lot of sand down, just like they did in Bulgaria last week, and you see the difference that it's had. There's a lot of braking bumps, gnarly braking bumps, coming into some of these lefts and rights. And this part of the circuit here, probably just a little bit firmer, so tyre choice, quite difficult for the riders. We see Simpson just off the back of that pack, coming under the bridge now. There's Manuel Moni on the 3C Yamaha, under the Teca bridge. Gauthier Paulin still there in 2nd, Vansana 3rd, Frossard 4th, Manuel Moni 5th, Simpson, Tellier, Loic Rombaud, the man who whole shot the qualifying heat yesterday, and eventually dropped back to 5th. He's on another good ride down there in 8th place. As we look at Sean Simpson, riding with a shoulder injury is Sean Simpson. He went practicing at a well-known haunt in Holland in the week, and it was an open day, so he was mixing with some intermediate riders, and as he took off a jump, the two riders came together in the air, and Simpson crashed and landed on that shoulder. So he's nursing a bit of an injury to that left shoulder at the moment, is Sean Simpson. Otherwise, you'd probably say that this circuit might have suited him a little bit more had he been 100% fit. There's Valentin Tellier, number 37, European champion from last year. There's Loic Rombaud on the CLS Kawasaki. Teammate to Stephen Frossard, 183, who is in 4th place. Rombaud it was who led the qualifying heat yesterday, but he's got Xavier Boug right behind him as they go over the finish line jump to complete their 3rd lap. Xavier Boug on the Teca Europe Suzuki, riding 1-2-1. Xavier Boug sitting in 5th place in the championship at the moment. Gauthier Paulin, it leads from Marvin Musquin on the NGS Honda, and that gap about 4 points at the moment, but you've got to say that the number 25 of Marvin Musquin still got a lot of work to do here, because he's still not broken in to the top 20. Or has he? Maybe just now on that lap. So, Marvin Musquin, yeah, up into 12th position, so he's having a great ride, completely different to what he had yesterday. When he went down, he picked himself up and couldn't get going. We've got a new leader here with the number 21 of Gauthier Paulin. So while I was looking for the progress of number 25, Marvin Musquin, we've got all change at the front. So Paulin leads then, just like he led in the heat race yesterday. He led from lap 2, and Zach Osborne followed him through until Paulin made a mistake. See Zach Osborne hanging off of that. He's not scared to let it go and let it all hang out, is the American, as he's now coming under pressure from the 64 of Kunstith Vansana on the SRS Honda. Down to the inside goes Vansana, past pit lane, and takes a position from Osborne. Osborne's going to jump to the inside though. decides not to. Yes, he does. He does jump down that whoop section, but he's going to be on the gas. He has to dip his head down there to avoid the roost. Down that straight. Vansana has the inside, though, but he's going to make Osborne go round the outside, and Osborne almost goes down. The front end started to wash out there. He had to drag his foot. He was also very, very wary that Vansana on the 64 SRS Honda wasn't going to wipe him. Oh, Vansana also losing that front end, going into that tight right-hander. So now we look at the battle for that second position. As Osborne is pushing on now in third position. Vansana pushing on just ahead in second position, trying to close down the gap between himself and Gauthier Paulin. There you see Gauthier Paulin on the Kawasaki, number 21, red plate on the front of that Kawasaki to signify he is the championship leader in this MX2 FIM World Motocross Championship. You see the different lines there. Osborne going to square off Vansana as he comes out of that right-hander, but Vansana has the inside line. I'm joined now by the boss of CCM's Grand Prix racing outfit, Mr. Gary Hathen. Gary, welcome to Turkey and the Grand Prix of Istanbul. What do you make of it all so far?
Well, it's a little bit like a British Championship round at Canada Heights. It's that cold, but you know, we had a nice day today, but today positively chilly, so yeah, it's good to be here. Yeah,
there's one thing I've not mentioned actually in the build-up to this race. Yesterday conditions were very sunny indeed, but very blustery. You can see we're at sea level here, and the wind is really cutting in across the coast there. And today a little bit cloudier, a lot cooler, considerably cooler, probably around about 8 or 9 degrees it feels like. Might be a bit warmer than that, but the wind chill here, just completely different conditions, but no danger of the track drying out though.
No, I think the track's looks as though it's been well graded overnight, and it appears to be a lot quicker, but where I've been watching the race from the pit lane, it's not rutting up like it did yesterday, but the times, I guess, are not really reflecting the qualification pace.
Yeah, 2:01's Gauthier Paulin doing at the moment as he completes his 5th lap of the moto. And yesterday they were just a little bit quicker than that, 57s probably in the heat race, 57s, 58, something like that. But conditions a little bit cooler. But CCM, Jason Dugan, will see him a little bit later on in the MX1 race, immediately after this. Tom Church not here though.
No, a little disappointing. Whilst he competed at Bulgaria last week, he was definitely off form and was just really, he didn't finish the second moto. Scored points in the first moto, but was, you know, not really living up to his own expectations.
How do you think it's going to finish?
Find out he's
better than yesterday, because Gauthier was leading yesterday, and then you have a small crash because the track is difficult and really tricky. Then we will see. You know, it's really difficult. Still long time to go. Hope it's okay.
So. We just had a slight technical problem there. We couldn't hear what was actually going on down in pit lane there, but Gauthier Paulin it is still leads though. And under the Tecker Bridge, over the rhythm section, caught off 1 or 2 riders out yesterday. Quite a lot of passing going on here yesterday. Quite sandy in the bottoms there and quite rutted, and riders really do have to pay attention through there. But Ray Rowson, another one of your riders, he's been on the missing and injured list and hopefully making a comeback soon, I hear.
Yeah, we'll hopefully have him back for Brampton, the next British Championship round, and I think we're going to miss Aguida and Belpuig, but he'll be back certainly for the Mallory GP round.
Well, hopefully we shall all see him down there, and that'll be that. First round we saw David Thorpe representing CCM. Last weekend it was Austin
yeah.
And you're here. Is that just something that's going to happen just over the course of the year?
Yeah, I guess that we're going to share the duties of just overseeing the race team, but all the guys that we have in the team are experienced.
So sorry there.
Yeah, the guys that were running the team, the mechanics, they all know the stuff. They're all from experienced GP teams, and so they know the stuff, and it's just a case of coming along and just making sure there's no real mishap.
Okay, well, let's just give you a quick rundown at the moment what's happening there. We see Sean Simpson down in 6th position at the moment as they come out of City Curve and over that wave section that caught Nicholas Oban out as he was coming back through the paddock. And we see Voog up the inside of Valentin Tellier, so the more experienced Boog forcing the issue up the inside of the KTM junior factory rider. And Boog moving up now into 7th position. Tellier dropping to 8th. Guarneri, our onboard camera, down in 9th. And Marvin Muscan, who's 2nd in the championship and the Grand Prix winner of Bulgaria last weekend, he's down in 10th. Motorvision Racing Suzuki's Matisse Caro, number 91, down in 11th, ahead of Sube Ra. Stephen Sword, 13th. Jake Nichols still there in 14th. Pascal Leray, 15th on that JK Dutch Honda. And 16th, White Avis. Loic Lariot, 17th. Evgeny Bobryshev, 18th. Yohei Kojima, the Japanese, on the Teki Europe Suzuki, down in 19th. And Arnold Tonu is down in 20th place. Manuel Moni just going through there, number 13 on that blue 3C Racing Yamaha. He's in 5th position, but Sean Simpson, the one carrying the shoulder injury on that orange number 4 KTM, he's coming under pressure now from Xavier Boog, number 121 on that Teka Suzuki. Boog having a great lap this time around, already finding a way past Tellier. And any moment now, you've got to say he's going to find his way past Sean Simpson. Simpson, though, having to ride defensive as they come out of that final turn past pit straight. Side by side they are. Boog takes a look over. But Sean Simpson not really challenging this weekend. That shoulder injury just must be hampering just a little bit. Yeah,
I think Sean's going to sort of view this race as a damage limitation exercise because, you know, talking to Jake Miller, his manager, promo manager, I think he's just, he's not fully 100% fit.
And you can see now Valentin Tellier, the European champion from last year, the 18-year-old, all over the back of Sean Simpson as well, but Simpson managing to hang on as he goes and completes his 7th lap. Tellier, he's been tipped as one of these riders, possibly the bright future ahead of him. What do you think? Have you seen much of him or not really?
Well, no, not really. It's the first GP I've been at this year, and we visited a couple of GPs last year to just have a look at how the job's going. And
it was MX2 then. Oh, that's handy, isn't it? Right on the onboard camera lens. Davide Guarneri, you just see there on that Monster Energy Ritchie Racing Yamaha, number 39 on that black machine, just behind the orange number 37 of Valentin Tellier, just getting roosted there. Unfortunately, we don't have tear-offs or roll-offs on that camera lens, so hopefully that will just work its way loose as the race goes on, and we'll be able to pick up those onboard images. There's Marvin Muscan, number 25, in the back of that shot as well. Number 25 on the NGS Honda in that blue and white top. So Marvin Muscan having a much better ride than he did yesterday, having to come through the pack. And he goes down the inside of Guarneri. And, well, he rode outside of that rut, so he was looking to make a move on Guarneri, but Guarneri just got a little bit more traction coming out of that right-hander and over that tabletop. But here we see the battle with, Boog, Simpson, Tellier, Guarneri, Muscan. That's a battle of 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. There we see Guarneri. That dirt has dislodged itself as Guarneri takes a tight line. Muscan can't get over there. Look how high that berm is there. Tellier doing well to hang on in there in that 8th position that he currently resides in. Marvin Muscan, he's... did you watch the Grand Prix last weekend in Bulgaria? He was absolutely horny last weekend.
Yeah, he went real good, yeah.
Tellier, under the watchful eye of Jackie Martins, a former world champion himself of the past on the Husqvarna, but Tellier now riding for the Red Bull Junior Factory KTM team, following number 4 of the senior factory Red Bull team, Sean Simpson. Guarneri just struggling for a bit of traction there, coming out of that left-hander, had to trail his leg a little bit as that rear end of that Yamaha was bobbing and weaving all over the place coming out of that tight rut. Xavier Boog disappearing up the track in 6th position. Paulan still leads, Van Sana now 2nd, Osborne 3rd, and the lap time still 2:01s for Gauthier Paulan and Gunsith Van Sana in that 2nd position. Osborne dropping down to 2:02s, and he's on the same pace as the riders behind him. Frossard, Manuel Moni, Xavier Boog and Sean Simpson dropping down on the 2:04s. So Simpson really struggling with that injury at the moment. Another rider who's injured and not here this weekend, Jeremy Theroux, and you may have noticed also the HDI KTM of Anthony Boissiere. He's carrying a leg injury from the opening GP in Faenza. Hopefully both those riders will be back in either Valkenswaard or Portugal. Muscan round the outside, tries to pass 2 riders in one go there. He forces Guarneri on that black Yamaha wide, but all that work comes to nothing as Guarneri, 49, that's one of the local riders. Oh, right in the back wheel there of Valentin Tellier. Just left his braking a little bit too late, did number 25, Marvin Muscan. And almost hit the deck. That would have been curtains for the young Frenchman. And he would have had to do all that hard work again. Remember, 25th on lap 1. And here he is, challenging Valentin Tellier and Davide Guarneri for 8th and 7th position. And he's found a way past Tellier. So now he's got his sights set on the number 39 of Guarneri on that Ritchie Racing Yamaha. See the different riding styles of these two riders, but Marvin Musquin really starting to hang it out here. We knew that he was good for at least one 45-minute moto, providing he got the start. Yes, and the second race last weekend in Bulgaria, he didn't make the start and had to come through and in the end settle for 3rd position, but he's having to do all the hard work now. Fortunately for him, weather conditions here and temperatures slightly cooler, I think we can say, well, quite considerably cooler than they were last week in Bulgaria. And that might play into his hands. The circuit, though, a little bit rougher, a little bit more technical. So in the way that you've got cooler conditions, you've got a slightly harder technical circuit that's going to make it hard to pass on. Takes it more out of you physically and mentally. And you can see he's using every inch of the circuit, trying to use every conceivable line just to try and find a way past Davide Guarneri on that black Monster Energy Yamaha. There's Stephen Frossard. Frossard in 4th position on the CLS Kawasaki, riding number 183. He's now got Manuel Moni right on the back end of him again. So Manuel Moni on the 3C Yamaha, the man on that blue machine, all in red. Moni, the Italian, looking to find a way back past the Frenchman on that Kawasaki. The green machine in your picture now, number 183. You can see the choice of lines there. Moni trying to square off the corners just to get a bit of power down, and he's looking, and Frossard looks over, he knows that Moni's there and doesn't even challenge him. So Manuel Moni moves up into 4th position. Gauthier Paulin still leads from Vincana. Osborne now 3rd, as we said earlier. Frossard, he's no longer 4th, but 5th behind that man on that blue machine. Manuel Moni on the 3C Racing Yamaha. Xavier Boug is down in 6th. Sean Simpson still 7th. Davide Guarneri, I wonder how long it's going to be before Guarneri finds a way past. Marvin Musquin 9th and Valentin Tellier still there in 10th. Sordi now up to 11th on the UK Red Bull KTM. Sordi's a rider that we've been wanting to keep an eye on this year. He had a good year last year with Kawasaki. Many thought that he would probably start a little bit quicker and probably more consistent, I guess, but in 2009. But obviously Faenza wasn't a great Grand Prix because of the weather conditions. But last week kind of caught us all by surprise, really. Didn't really perform there. Any thoughts on that?
Well, he's still getting used to a new bike, I think, and the new team. You know, he was in a real comfortable team that he knew very well with the Molson setup, but with the demise of Molson, you know, he's moved to John McGee's team, and I think he's just going to take a little bit of time to settle in.
Well, he's having an okay ride so far this weekend. Was looking a little bit uncomfortable yesterday in his qualifying heat down in, well, he was outside the top 20, but he had a good start in his heat race, and obviously that paid dividends because it's got him a better position on the line, and that's got him a better start, and he's now just sitting outside of his 10th now, so he's gone past Sean Simpson. So we're just looking on the leaderboard. Jake Nichols, here we go down pit lane. We can't hear again, so we'll just have to leave it to you viewers at home.
Per me è una sorpresa perché noi abbiamo lavorato tanto quest'anno aspettando dei risultati, ma a fine stagione, e non crediamo in quello che stiamo vedendo.
Yeah, we gave him a lot of support at the beginning of the season, but we expected the results to come towards the end of the season, so we just do not believe in what we see now.
On the Red Bull KTM machine, trying to find his way up the inside of Matisse Caro, the Latvian, on the Motovision Racing Suzuki. And what's that? That's the rear brake hanging off the side of Pascal Laray's machine on that JK Dach Honda. But we're going to take a quick break here as Gauthier Paulin leads from Vincana, Osborne 3rd, Moni 4th, and Stephen Frossard is in 5th.
The 2008 ARCA season wrapped up at Toledo, and heading into the final race of the year, it was a 3-driver battle for the title. Join Motors TV this Saturday, April 18th at 9 p.m. to see who won the 2008 ARCA crown.
It's a brave new world in Formula One. Never has the sport transformed so much in such a short period of time. Be sure to tune in for Inside Grand Prix and a preview of the 3rd race of the year, the Grand Prix of China, Monday, April the 13th from 9 p.m. Round 3 of the WRC, the Rally of Portugal, Tuesday, April the 14th from 5:40. Martin Prokop and Aaron Burkhardt will head the list of juniors. Patrick Sandell will have to contend with local ace Armindo Araujo in the production class.
Hi, I'm Sean Simpson. See you on Motors TV this year for the World Championships.
Just over 11 minutes here to go in the first MX2 race here at the Grand Prix of Turkey in Istanbul. The first time in the World Championship history in 52 years that the Motocross World Championship has visited these shores. Quite literally, we're at sea level. Gauthier Paulan, the man on screen, number 21 on the Bud Racing Kawasaki, leads from Kunsif Bonsana on the SRS Honda, number 64 in second. Zach Osborne, the UTAG Yamaha rider, is third. Manuel Moni on the 3C Racing Yamaha is fourth, riding number 13. Oh, mistake there from Paulan as he just came out of that right-hander. Xavier Boug on the Teka Suzuki Europe machine is in fifth position. Stephen Frossard, the Frenchman on the CLS Kawasaki, is sixth. And in seventh position is Marvin Musquin, the closest challenger in the title race at the moment to the man leading this race, Gauthier Paulan. He's down in seventh. Valentin Tellier is eighth. Davide Guarneri is ninth, and Stephen Sword is 10th. Jake Nichols now up into 11th position, so pretty much following his teammate Stephen Sword around since the start of this race. Joined by Gary Hatton from CCM. Gary, what do you make of this race so far, and what do you make of Zach Osborne?
I think Zach is riding real sensible now. You know, watching him in training, he's pretty wild. But here he seems to be in a nice, comfortable rhythm and going for the points.
Well, he is looking for some points because Osborne, at the moment, down in 13th in the championship, just 23 points. But he's got a bunch of riders ahead of him. Marcus Schiffer, Ruben Calvez and Arnold Tonu and Alessandro Lupino. They're only sort of like 4 or 5 points ahead of him. Joel Rouland's in 8th, only 5 or 6 points ahead of him in the championship. So looking to hoist himself up the leaderboard quite considerably here as he comes out of one of those deep, artificial, sand-laden turns over the far side of the circuit. But Osborne, well, a lot of people actually forget that in 2004 he was an 85cc or an 80cc FIM junior world champion when he was riding for KTMs in his youth days. But so he's got some experience with Europe. Obviously came into the Grand Prix season last year. He ran a British Championship round at Fox Hills for Steve Dixon, but then the week after that was down at Lommel in Belgium. Didn't disappoint there, picked up an 8th in one of the races, DNF the other, but I think to get his first taste of Grand Prix experience, Lommel was a bit of a tough challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was at Lommel for the Vets race as well, and yeah, he picked up useful points there, and I think he'd DNF the second race, but he's well on the pace.
Well, he's looking quite comfortable there in that third place. I spoke to him just after qualifying yesterday, and he was more than chuffed, but I think underneath it all, you've got to say that he knew that Gauthier Paulan was possibly just a little bit quicker, and the crash meant that he was handed the win. But a win is a win. It was pole position, his first one of the 2009 season. As we look at Manuel Moni in fourth. He's behind Osborne in third, Fontana second, and Gauthier Paulan still leads. Number 13, Manuel Moni of Italy on the 3C Racing Yamaha, who currently resides down in 25th position at the moment. That doesn't really do him any justice. No score in Italy at his home Grand Prix in Faenza. A DNF in race 1 in the opening outing at Bulgaria just a week ago, and then just a handful of points in race 2. He had a bit of a busy weekend though, picked himself up off the deck more than one occasion in qualifying and in the races. So a little bit battered and bruised was this rider here, Manuel Moni, last weekend, but finally showing the potential that we know he has in this 2009 campaign. He's sitting there at the moment in 4th place, and he's, well, considerable distance off the back of Zach Osborne, about 13 seconds, as Marvin Musquin, that man on screen now, number 25 on the NGS, the Nouvelle Generation Sport Honda. He's now working his way through traffic and up into 6th place. He was down in 25th at the end of lap 1. But he's now got his sights on that man just heading out of that corner in front of him on the yellow Suzuki, that Teka Europe machine of Xavier Boug. Valentin Tellier having a great ride inside the top 10. In 7th position, Davide Guarneri there on screen now on that black Monster Energy Ritchie Yamaha in 8th position. Stephen Sword, and that was Frossard disappearing. That looks like it's over. Is that coming out of the onto the start straight? That's possibly where it is. Judging by that is, that's opposite pit lane. So I was looking at one of those yesterday, thinking that might be an interesting challenge there as it starts to get bumpy. And obviously now Stephen Frossard losing a handful of places. Well, he's dropped down in the leaderboard, as you can see. He didn't even make it towards the end of his 13th lap. So Gauthier Paulin leads. Bonsana still second, only 2.5 seconds off the pace. So that could get interesting in this final 6 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Osborne still sitting pretty there in 3rd. He's got a comfortable gap. He's got 5 seconds behind Bonsana. And he's got about 13 seconds behind him is Manuel Moni. That Hyundai banner there, that's where Frossard's gone over the top. And that was just a lap ago, and I dare say that Frossard is still trying to get himself going from that crash. Xavier Boug on that yellow Tekka Suzuki. As he comes out of that KTM turn over that little jump to complete his 13th lap of this moto. Lap 14, sorry. He's got Marvin Musquin hounding him all the way, so you got to think that in the closing stages Marvin Musquin might just possibly break into the top 5 here. He needs to if he's to challenge Gauthier Paulin for the red plate come the end of the day. MX2 Racing very, very open this year. So too the MX1 class, though. We'll see those a little bit shortly. What are your views on that, Gary?
Well, when we looked at the MX1 class, we thought it was going to be a really strong class, yeah, certainly at British Championship level as well, it's really strong. So there's some good riders in there, Caroli and everybody like that. They're really strong.
They are strong, and so is this rider here, number 25 on the NGS Honda. Marvin Musquin, as Boug looks over his shoulder, he sees his fellow Frenchman up the inside, and had he got on the power there and not lost that rear end, I'm sure Musquin would have been through. But Boug, all he can do on that Suzuki, the front rider, or the man to the right of your screen, all he can do is try and keep him at bay. He's going through that rhythm section, but Musquin just losing out in that right-hander. Tight left here, both picking the front wheel up over that horrible hole that's developed that Valentellier hits. Number 37 on that orange KTM. There's some quite deep ruts here. Some of them have been taken off the circuit. They were quite heavy, particularly past pit lane. We saw the track crew sorting those out back end of last night, but this is the part that we're talking about. It's just a drag race now, and you see the power of that Honda. A long pit straight is going to slingshot himself around the outside and launch long off of that jump up the inside. But can Boug square him off? He can't, because Musquin closes the door and closes down another position. So Musquin now up into 5th place, and he's got Manuel Moni just ahead of him. Out of this corner now, Moni already over the line. So Moni goes over the line now, so too does Marvin Musquin. That gap between those two is 5 seconds. So 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Can Marvin Musquin on the NGS Honda close down the Italian Manuel Moni on that Yamaha? Sean Simpson has dropped down the order to 16th position now. But his UK Red Bull teammate, I guess you could say, Stephen Sword, now in 9th. Jake Nichols, what a great ride for him, up into 10th place. So Roger McGee will be loving this. Sat at home in Ireland. And Matisse Carreau, the Motorvision Suzuki. So we've got 3 British riders competing in the British, well, 3 British-based riders, shall I say. Sordi, Jake Nichols and Matisse Carreau. And Pascal Leray as well, let's not forget, he competes in the British Championship at home. He's in 12th position, so we've got a whole gaggle of riders that are used to riding against each other. And there's Wyatt Davis, 69, on the SRS Honda. He was 14th, and possibly still will be, as he gets himself up and running. That looks like it's just after the finish line through that next right, through this corner here. Sorry, under the other Red Bull bridge. Into the Tekka Whoops. And we see the number 94 going through, and that's one of the local riders, Hristijan Ilioski, on the Turkish licence. His other rider from Turkey, Ata Nurhan, riding number 110 on the KTM. He provided our onboard camera lap. He's well outside the points at the moment, but it's got to be a great experience for these two guys coming here, probably having only watched the race on TV like the majority of us, and then getting a ride in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, they're acting as really mobile chicanes to some of the top lads, but got great experience for them to be in the Premier League.
And they're only youngsters as well. Nurkan is only 16, 17 years old. As Davide Guarneri, number 39 on that Yamaha. He's trying to close down Valentin Tellier, but he's been there pretty much the whole of the moto and failing at the moment to do anything about it. So Valentin Tellier having a great ride in 7th. Boog still 6th. That man there, Davide Guarneri, number 39, he's in 8th. Here we see... Oh, this is a replay of Marvin Musquin going past. He saw Xavier Boog look over his shoulder almost helplessly as he knew the power of that NGS Honda was going to come around the outside of him. He had no choice but to go to... Well, he had a choice. He could have gone straight on and teed him off at the corner, but Xavier Boog thinking the better of it and allowing the French Honda rider, Marvin Musquin, that man on screen now, number 25, to go quite easily around the outside. There's Zach Osborne. He's a little bit further on down the track on that number 338 UTAG Yamaha. He's still sitting there in 3rd position as well, and he's about 10 seconds behind Vansana, so he's happy to sit there, you would imagine then, for that 3rd position, picking up a first podium of the season. Stick himself a nice little bit of bonus in his back pocket, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Dixon's arms have suddenly shrunk at the prospect.
He keeps telling me he's got deep pockets.
Yeah, he's. I think he's got them well and truly tucked into the short sleeves of that Yamaha shirt of his. Out of the little twisty sections here, Zach Osborne sitting there in 3rd. Manuel Moni's still 4th.
So it was in a difficult race for Zach. He was 1st at the start, and then now he's back to 3rd. Well, how come?
No, I think he's doing really well. He had a good start, which is a bonus for him. He's probably struggling a little bit near the end of the race because the pace is quite hot on this track, but all in all, we're pretty happy with him.
Well, you hear the crew chief there for Zach Osborne, but unfortunately we still had no sound from pit lane there, so we're none the wiser as to what was said. But I guess it's along the lines of he's having a great ride, and 3rd place will be good enough, thank you very much, and hopefully we'll have more of the same next time out. But 2 laps to go. Gauthier Paulin over the first of the wave sections. Blue Flag's doing a great job here, clearing the slower riders out of the way of the leaders. But Gauthier Paulin, at the start of the season, it would have taken a very, very brave man pre-Faenza to have said that this guy would be leading the World Championship coming into round 3.
Yeah, I think he's come up on the blind side. He's not a name that I'm sort of familiar with, but I'm not up to the pace with all the latest guys. Yeah, he's doing a great job, and he seems to have some consistency. So I think he's well deserved this race like win.
Well, he is a former European champion in the MX2 class in 2007, riding for the Martin Honda squad before joining Molson Kawasaki in 2008, which, unfortunately for him, was a season marred by injury. And here he is back on a Kawasaki with Bud racing this year, French outfit. And well, as we see at the moment, a win in the first moto in Faenza, 2 seconds in the Grand Prix of Bulgaria, guaranteed him the red plate coming into this round here, in round 3 in Turkey. And his nearest challenger at the moment, Marvin Musquin, is down in 5th position, so he's going to extend that lead going into race 2. And after the interview, after the podium last weekend in Bulgaria, Gauthier Paulin did say that as long as he's hanging around, he just wants to be hanging around that red plate area just to capitalise or extend that lead, pretty much just to keep himself in the hunt. And he's doing that at the moment. Vansana having a great ride here on the number 64 SRS Honda machine. Vansana, another French rider, possibly with a bright future, but having a great ride here this weekend. And where was he in his heat race? He was 7th in qualifying yesterday, and he's looking to get his team. Well, we saw his teammate Wyatt Avis fall off just a little bit early. We saw the back end of it, and Vansana, he's got to say, doing his team justice this weekend. But they were actually riding, or the mechanics were walking around yesterday with black armbands on. I'm sure they still are, because obviously the Italian earthquake claiming quite a few lives in the past week. And one of the mechanics actually, I was talking to Roger Harvey, one of the mechanics' homes was actually destroyed in that earthquake. The epicenter, they were about 50k from that, and his home took a bit of a shake, and that was destroyed. So the SRS team, bit of a somber weekend. It's almost sort of chalk and cheese for them this weekend. Obviously, you've got a guy there getting 3rd position or 2nd position, potentially at the moment in this opening race. and then you've got the devastation at home in Italy as well. But here's your man who's leading this race and looking at the moment with about a third of a lap to go. Number 21, Gauthier Paulin, going to be picking up his second race win in 4 outings. So that's not a bad record to have, is it? You know, 2 wins, 2 seconds. Not a bad strike rate that as he comes under the Tecker Bridge at the final time here, picking his way through the sandy ruts that you cannot see in the bottom there. You see number 64 just entering that same section, Vincent Bonsana. And Bonsana originally from Caen in the north of France. So 21 years old is Bonsana. He'll be picking up his best ever Grand Prix result here if he hangs on for the final few corners and takes the flag. Past pit lane, will he acknowledge? He does. He acknowledges the team as he comes through there for the final time. Bonsana is second, Osborne still hanging on in third, Moni fourth, but that gap between Moni and Marvin Musquin is still around about 3 seconds, so Musquin going to have to settle for 5th position here in this opening race. Xavier Boug shooting on for 6. He's got a 3-second gap between himself and Valentin Tellier in 7th. Davide Guarneri, he's dropped off the back of Tellier in 8th, and Stephen Sword, he's 9th, but it's the checkered flag for number 21 and a big win for Gauthier Paulin, who picks up victory here in the first of the MX2 motos at the Grand Prix of Turkey in Istanbul. He acknowledges the crowd to the left on the grandstand there, and he waits, I'm sure, to congratulate Gunsif Bonsana, as it's a French 1-2 again. Zach Osborne will cross the line in 3rd and does so, and he joins the picture as well, and the crowd really appreciative of the action here in this opening encounter. The rest of the riders come through. Manuel Moni 4th, Marvin Musquin 5th, Xavier Boug 6th, Valentin Tellier 7th, Davide Guarneri about to cross the line now in 8th position. Sordy should come in 9th, and Jake Nichols will be a great ride for him. Come over the line in 10th, equals his best ever result from Faenza in the mud in race 1. So Jake Nichols, points on the board for the KTM UK Red Bull team. He's down there in 10th place ahead of Pascal Leray, Cedric Soubirard, Mathis Caro, Loic Alario, Sean Simpson dropping down to 15th. Gary, thanks ever so much for joining us here in this opening MX2 race. Your boys are out on the line in the moment, or Jason is anyway. All the best for that one, and we'll see you well, out and about at this Grand Prix, but also at the next round in Holland in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks ever so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Anything you want to get off your chest before you leave?
Not really.
Okay. All right, well, we'll see you in a couple of weeks anyway, and thanks a lot for joining us here today.
Cheers, Paul.
Thank you. Don't forget to take your headset off on the way out. You'll be pulling me to pieces. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Ta-da. Well, Gauthier Paulin, you see on screen the race winner, just being congratulated by his team. But Gunsif Bonsana, what a great ride for him in 2nd position as well. Zach Osborne 3rd, Manuel Moni 4th, Marvin Musquin 5th, Xavier Boug 6th, Tellier 7th, Guarneri, Sword and Nichols round out the top 10. Well, as the silence descends on this circuit just outside of Istanbul at the end of the MX2 encounter, we wait for some post-race interviews for the winners as we look at a slow-mo of Gunsif Bonsana on the SRS Honda. It was a victory, though, for Gauthier Paulin on the Kawasaki. Osborne was 3rd, Manuel Moni 4th, Marvin Musquin, Xavier Boug, Tellier and Davide Guarneri. They were your top 8. Stephen Sword 9, Jake Nichols 10. Great ride for those two. Pascal Leray 11th, Soubirard, Caro, Laria, Bob Rocher 15th, Sean Simpson, disappointment for him in 16th, Arnold Toner 17th, Yohei Kojima, the Japanese rider, 18th on that Tecker Europe Suzuki, 19th, Nikolai Larsen of Denmark on the Burstboom Suzuki, and Wyatt Davis picking up 1 point in 20th place. Well, that guy's got the best seat in the house, but we'll be right back for more action just after the break. Don't go away.